Welcome to Paws Between Us, your regular dose of positive pet news. Every other week, we bring you a short, uplifting episode packed with latest feel-good stories and research from the world of pets.
So settle in for a short pause and let's spread some positivity together.
Hi, Nat.
Hello, Sash.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. We're in our rhythm now, aren't we, with our intros and our greetings?
We are. Yeah.
We are. But always good to hear from you and see you.
Yeah, seeing you way more than we used to.
I know. It's a good
thing.
Good way to maintain a friendship,
Keep in touch.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Co-host of a podcast. There you go.
That's a way to keep in touch with friends.
The news this week. Shall I talk you through what I have?
Why not?
So in terms of what has caught my eye this week in the news, something that's circulating on social media, which I thought was quite interesting, is there's a call for people to sign a petition to legislate drivers reporting collisions with cats. And they've had quite a lot of signatures, so there's something that people feel very passionate about, and maybe not everyone realises actually that in the UK it is legal to hit a cat when driving and not need to stop or report collisions, leaving the cat scared, alone and in pain. And as we both know, and we don't need to tell our listeners this, that cats are important, loved, valued family members for many, and there's me and you support the belief that the law should reflect this. This is what it says on the petition. So the petition basically wants the government to legislate to require drivers to stop, check and report any road collisions with cats if they're injured on the road, and holds drivers accountable if they fail to stop and report a collision involving a cat on the basis that they have left a cat unnecessarily suffer. And the petition asks drivers to be made responsible for seeking help for an injured cat is a perfectly reasonable and simple ask, which I feel very strongly about. So, as you know, I don't have a cat at the moment, but I've had several cats in my lifetime, but I did have a cat called Jagger, who I've posted about on our Instagram account. And Jagger, when he was alive, bless his little soul, he passed away due to old age. But when he was younger, he did get hit by a car on a busy road. And the driver very kindly did stop when he realised that he had hit Jagger, and he pulled over and he scooped up Jagger and took him to the vets. And it was that act of kindness that saved Jagger's life, because Jagger's tail had come off as a result of the incident.
Wowzers. And
it was very touch and go as to whether Jagger would survive. And in a sort of a stroke of luck that day, there was also a vet in who was known as someone called Magic, apparently, and it was his nickname. He called him Magic because he could perform miracles, I think, with animals. And he operated on Jagger and really sort of saved his life. And actually the person who brought Jagger into the vet did leave his details, his name and address, so we were able to contact him and really thank him for everything that he did, because I think if Jagger was just left on the side of the road, he may have got hit again by another car, or he would have just been left to die suffering alone. So I know that's like a really negative sort of thought, but it turned into a positive in terms of his life was saved because of this kind driver.
Yeah, that's it.
And I get if you're on, you may be on a motorway or a really busy road. I don't know how many cats try and cross motorways. I mean, Jagger was originally found in Romania crossing a busy motorway and had been hit then as well.
Oh, geez.
But I don't think as badly. And that was when he was very young before he came to the UK. So, I know you can't always stop, say if you're on the M25. I mean, I don't know how many cats go roaming around motorways, but if you do hit one in your neighbourhood, it would be good to think that there was more of a requirement, to stop.
Yeah, it's interesting that, because I think what for me is the message that, yes, you may, because I have this thing about like roadkill. It really, really upsets me. And I get quite deeply affected by seeing any animal dead in the road, even if it's from a badger to a squirrel to anything, pigeon, everything really, really gets to me. I'm far too sensitive for all of this. And so the thought, I'm so lucky. I mean, again, touch wood, so lucky that I've never hit anything.
Yeah.
I'd be absolutely beside myself if I did and really stressed. But the thought there that if you can get to the animal and get it to a veterinary clinic or whatever, that actually you can save its life and you can do good. So, and you were talking there about like this petition, and I have just looked up as to what the other sort of legalities are around other animals, because I didn't know much about this. And you must stop and report an accident to the police if you hit horses, dogs, cattle, for example, cows and pigs, goats and sheep and donkeys or mules, but not cats and not any other kind of animals. So
it's long overdue then. I don't know why cats have been excluded.
Actually, it does say further down. So I'm on the government website, just looking at this live now. It says you can report any dead animals you find on the road to the local council, and that does include, and it lists here, badgers, foxes, and domestic pets such as cats and dogs. But that just says you can report. So obviously the council can probably deal with the cleanup rather than anything more than that. But yeah, those bigger animals like dogs are the sort of smallest from what I can see on this list. But you must stop and report an accident if you hit anything like a dog or a horse or... So, yeah, adding cats to that would be welcome, from my opinion, because you can save a life.
Yeah, it's long overdue, and cats are just as loved as dogs, as we know. So, and other furry friends that are part of our families. So, yeah, let's hope that it gets somewhere. And in time to come, we'll be talking about the sort of the outcome in a positive way, and that we will have seen some change there. But yeah, I definitely know that it saved Jagger's life. So we'll always be grateful for that guy. Yeah, that one guy who that morning was, did a random act of kindness that made a difference. Because obviously very worried about him, very devastated that he was in that state, but really sort of relieved that he pulled through, and so grateful. So yeah, so what do you have in the news this week then? What's caught your eye?
Yeah, just as I saw an article or a post that I think it was by a veterinary professional who said that they're seeing more and more, I think, of well-meaning pet owners trying to treat their sick pets at home themselves. So reaching for things like paracetamol and thinking it will kind of help and be a quick fix. And like you say, they are well-meaning, and I think perhaps the pressures of pet medicine, veterinary appointments and the expense and stuff is probably pushing people to be a bit more risk-taking. Just, again, we said last week about some of the toxins that we need to avoid for cats, that paracetamol is deadly for a cat. So please don't give any human medicines to your animal without having a vet give you that clear advice. And it made me think, like, I was looking at this and thinking, like, I can understand the desperation of people. And, what would an answer be? We have, over-the-counter medicines for humans and for children. Is that somewhere we should be heading to? I know vets will probably absolutely freak out at that idea, but I wonder whether it's an answer down the line that there are safe medicines that can be administered to your pet if you think they're in pain or they need something. But I've looked into it a little bit more, and there are some medicines that are used in humans that are used in cats, like gabapentin, which is what Weaver's on, amoxicillin, and some other bits and bobs. But there's lots of questions here because we don't know exactly what is wrong with the animal. They can't tell us that they're sick. They can't tell them that their stomach's off or that they're in pain. You can't identify the pain. So trying to kind of assume something as a lay pet owner is very difficult. So I don't think, asking or providing medicines off a counter that we could use is probably the best idea. And also there's lots of things of like metabolizing tablets and the size of tablets and how much you can give and what's good and what's not. So, I mean, vets do prescribe human medicines, as we say, but that's with their expert knowledge and with their ability to be able to do assessments against other animals that they've treated and getting the right weight and the right dosage. But, I suppose one of the questions that may come into it is whether maybe more human medicines can be available. So actually the cost can come down and there is more availability, so that not necessarily that people will buy them, that we should be able to buy them as lay owners or as the general public, but that there's more options, cheaper options that vets can provide in a safe way. So maybe that's kind of, it's all around licensing and kind of like the regulations and stuff, which Humanimal are kind of one of the things I think they're kind of exploring. So maybe we can discuss this with them when they come in. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It just feels like there needs to be something to help people who are struggling to pay. There's also the stress and the kind of worry and difficulties in getting some pets to the vets. The stress of taking Murray and Weaver is just immense sometimes. And if I could get something without having to take them in for a face-to-face appointment, that would save a lot of stress. But, it's all got to be done safely. It's all got to be done with the pet's well-being in mind at the end of the day. So it's just...
Yeah. I mean, so Betty has had pain relief in the past for various things. And if there is a little bit left over, and I know she's taken it before and she's okay with it, I will kind of save it and use it again. Not if she has the same problem, but like this sort of like a generic pain relief. Say, for example, she hurt her paw or she was limping a bit, and you could see that she was in a bit of visible pain, because pets are good at hiding pain, apparently.
Yeah.
You don't always know. And I would probably give her a little bit of what she's had before, just until I can get to the vets. Because I know that it is generic pain relief that is okay to give her and it's safe, and whether it's the right thing to give her for that specific problem. But if I did think that she was in visible pain, I would do that until I could get to the vets.
To the vets.
Do have some left over. But I wish animals could talk, because I hate the idea of them being in pain and suffering unnecessarily and not being able to tell us. But if there was sort of more of a generic medication that, if you could see that they were in a little bit of pain, that you could give them. But I know paracetamol is quite toxic to humans, isn't it? If you're not careful, there's a limit to how many tablets you can take in a day. And
yeah, it's interesting you were saying about giving medicine to Betty that you had, because actually the last vet I went to see, and it was a real lovely reassurance, instead of it being very to the book and not really giving space for the reality of life. She said to me, yes, here's some pain relief, give it to him for the next 5 days. And she did say, this is something that can be used again if there's a need for it. It's safe enough. So if there's things like that can be given to people when they need them, I suppose everyone's going to be worried about people misdiagnosing and administering, like giving the wrong dosage, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, which could end up being fatal. But I don't know. Hopefully most
it's
people
back to just that sort of education, isn't it, around animal health, medication. It's
maybe
I've never thought about, until we started this podcast, I've not actually thought about these things before in that much detail, because I don't know, sort of there's a bit of mystique around animal medicine that it probably is no different to human medicine.
Really,
but we sort of, I don't know, I treat it more as something that you have to just be careful with. I mean, you have to be careful with all human medicines, but you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. But if you're going to be treating a baby or a very young child that can't tell you what they're feeling, surely that's the same for an animal. If you're the guardian of a baby and you're even the physician of a baby, doctor of a baby, that judgment on what you give it is going to be the same of how you do an animal. So, we give medicines to kids that can't tell you what they're thinking or feeling. So we should be getting to a point where maybe that can happen for animals. I mean, I don't know how personally comfortable I would feel in judging what was going on, to be honest, until I'd had, like I say, a lot of education, or I was already under treatment for something and I knew, this is the same thing, I do this in this occasion. I wouldn't want to just buy, I think my cat's got something wrong with it, I'll go and buy it off the shelf. I don't think that's what I'm thinking of, but an easier access potentially needs to be looked at, I think.
Yeah, we need
Dunno.
a Calpol equivalent for pets, don't we? Yeah, it's tricky, but it's an interesting thought, isn't it, around what you can and can't give our pets. So
I think because of things becoming more expensive and people, there's more and more information seems to be coming out that people aren't going to the vets and people aren't able to pay for prescriptions. There's something needs to happen. Something needs to change a little bit to make it easier for everyone, including like veterinary clinics, I think, are on their knees at the moment and struggling. You know, that has to come into it as well. But anyway, yeah, interesting.
Anyway, interesting. Yeah. And did you have something else you said, or was that was your main news for this week?
The only other thing I was going to talk about, but I think that's probably for another time, was we've touched on it a few times about anthropomorphising our pets.
Yeah,
about basically kind of like thinking them as like we do humans. But that's another conversation. I think it's quite a big one for us to discuss maybe another day.
That is a huge topic, and I could talk all day about that. But
I think I'm a failure of doing it.
Let's save it, and in the meantime, I will practice how to say the word because it's on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot get it out. It's too long for me. It's a bit of a tongue twister, that one, isn't it? It is. I'm not even going to attempt to say it.
Anthropomorphising. It's the th and th. Yes. All right. Well, yeah. We'll bring you some other relevant news and research next time on our short pause. But until then, you should hear from some of our special guests in between time. So check us out and tune in next time. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, great. Thank you for listening. And until next time, take care. See you soon.